Okay, now let's jump on to common questions that we normally get. The first one is, what should I do if I'm buried in credit card debt? Very common, especially nowadays.
Get out of it as soon as you can. Um,
Fastest
uh,
way. Mm-hmm.
Basically, credit card is really like I mean, you don't realize it. There was a time that I was also caught in the whole, 3% lang naman minimum. As how many percent was it? Basta there's a minimum lang I'll pay. But eventually, it builds up, and you're basically not. You're just paying the interest, and just
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I would
Yeah.
not recommend getting buried in credit card debt at all. Just get out of it as soon as you can.
As soon as you can. So let's say you're 10%, instead of saving it, go ahead, just settle your credit card debt first. Zero it
Yeah.
out first.
Well, I guess
Pay.
it's as per needed basis sometimes. Just I mean, don't extend it na every month na
Okay.
lang minimum. It's
Yeah.
more of like I guess people sometimes I do it like this month I'm a little bit tight on the
Yeah.
cash side, so I'll use my credit card. But I still have that mindset na pay it as soon as you can. Yeah.
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
guilty too. Anything here, Dino?
Uh, Hide your card or cut it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think that works.
Yeah, but yeah, I agree with Kat. Just as much as possible, try to settle it as soon as you can.
Mhm.
Kasi it's really hard to go into that cycle. Na you're just paying
Yeah.
the interest and then it just goes on and on and on, di ba? So you just have to pay as much as you can. Settle it as fast as you can.
Until you zero it out and stop using your credit card.
Yeah, and
Okay.
after you settle it, hide it first.
Yeah. Correct. Thank you.
Just
Second
get out of the
question.
habit. Yeah.
Yeah, get out of it fast too. I think we discussed it already. So best investment, you mentioned fixed income bond as low as 5,000. It's good. What can you say about online investment apps such as G Invest from Gcash for beginner investors?
Not really familiar, but I think a lot of the banks, a lot of the banks actually offer those apps already. Like some of the banks, you can invest via their online
Okay.
directly. So I'm not familiar with the Gcash, sorry,
G
and
Invest
the
from
G Invest.
Gcash. But I guess if it's pretty much offered by a reliable bank, then it should be
Yeah.
safe
Yeah.
enough. Okay, good. Okay, stocks, bonds, and funds. Quickly, what is the difference, Dino?
Well,
Pinoy.
stocks are issued shares by the company. It's to simplify it for everyone. Um, of the three, the most aggressive is stocks. It's the most
Oh,
aggressive type of investment because you're basically investing in the company by buying a share of the stock. You're basically buying a share of ownership of the company. So why do I say it's the more aggressive? Because it takes into consideration a lot of things. One is the company's performance, the company's outlook, the company's historical performance. So there's a lot of things, and of course, in a pandemic, usually it's the stock market that really gets hit first. Like last year, if
mhm.
you recall, after the first ECQ announcement, the stock market actually got hit hard, but eventually it came back. Diba? Funds naman, it's a combination of both bonds and stocks. So it's basically managed by professional fund managers like myself. So when you say an equity fund, it's basically a fund of stocks. When, for example, an index fund, it's basically the PSEI in a fund. So it's perfect for passive aggressive investors. Like if I have no time, let's say I'm a full time employee of a telecom,
Mhm.
so I have no time to really look at the market. I have no time to look at the share price of a specific stock. So, but I'm the type that I'm aggressive in terms of my investing. So actually, I can invest in a fund that's comprised of stocks like the equity index fund. Um, and let professional fund managers manage it for you. Um, Bonds, as I mentioned, is a fixed income instrument that's issued by the government or sometimes by the corporation also. So it's more of fixed income. So you get interest every 6 months, every 3 months. So it's more conservative compared to the stock market, and to funds. So I guess for beginner investors, I mentioned bonds are the best option. But if you're more of the passive aggressive type, then should invest also in funds, because it will help your money grow. At the same time, you don't need to watch the market every day.
Got it. Thank you. Clearly defined. Dino, quick question. Is there a minimum age requirement for someone so they
Uh
can invest in stocks, bonds, and funds?
well, it's not really an age, more of a risk appetite. Eh.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if
Okay.
I know a lot of people that are really young, like fresh graduate, but they're investing in stocks na because the risk appetite is more aggressive, eh, di ba? Kasi like as Kat mentioned, when we were a bit younger, when I started working, I didn't want to invest in stocks right away, di ba? Kasi I don't want to lose a lot of money because I don't have
Yeah.
a lot, di ba?
True.
Parang ganun, di ba?
But
So you
but
tend to go for the safer investments, and then when you make a little as you get older, then probably be more aggressive.
but on
It's not really an age.
I think
It's not really an
we
age thing.
lost. Yeah. No, but I mean on paper has to be legal age before they can actually open a an
Yeah, of course,
account.
of course.
Okay,
Yeah,
legal
of course, of
age.
course.
Okay, so if I'm
Of course.
younger, maybe I can just ask my parents to create an account for me. Okay. Do you recommend investing in the Philippine stocks at this point in time? Yes, we answered this earlier,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
It's good. Wow, what is your market prognosis?
Um, the PSEI is, I think if you look at the average estimate of where the analysts, the brokers, the banks are looking, it's around 7 to 7.5. So easily around 10 to 15% upside from where we are now. So that's
Mm-hmm.
the estimate of the market. Of course, on the premise that there will be no more, there won't be a lot of, another breakout or another, di ba? Di ba? That's on the
Yeah.
premise that we believe the economy will eventually recover down the line.
All right. Thank you for answering the question. We'll move on to the next. We have just a few more. I'm a first time real estate buyer. What do I need to consider before buying a home? Yeah.
So for this, I guess you start with when I have a first time investor, a client, I always ask them what their motivation is and their timeline, um, the horizon on what basically where they want to invest. No? And I mentioned there are those end users and there are those real investors who
Mm-hmm.
basically invest in property or buy property to make that property work for them. So meaning, yun nga, either there are two kinds to invest, two factors to consider when you invest in a real estate property, which is number one is the appreciation of the property, meaning how much the value of this property will be appreciating in the next few years. And the second is actually rental yield. So rental yield, you're more playing in the secondary market, meaning you buy something that's ready for occupancy already and make it work for you in a way that you're getting rent already. So
Okay.
those two mindsets are different. So um, if you were to find if you want a rental yield, which is actually most of what I learned from my international investors, is matters more for them because you can actually take out a bank loan and then use that amortization, use the rental to pay for the monthly amortization. So it's a lot of studying also how much you can afford as a monthly payment. So maybe as a first time real estate buyer, I don't know, did I get it? Yeah. So at what age you are, but it's first of all determining how much monthly you want to be able to shell out for this investment. And then from there, then I start advising whether we look into the secondary market and ask you, find good deals at at this price point, and then get something that has that will work for you in terms of the rental yield, or I'd advise you to go into development projects, which will basically give you a low down payment or no down payment, and then like low monthly payments schemes. So it's looking and researching on how much. It's also like risk appetite, I guess.
Mhm.
How much you're able to or are you comfortable um, shelling out every month for it, or maybe you have a bulk, a big amount now that you inherited, and then you can use that to pay cash on something and get a good deal. So it's a lot of factors to consider.
Yeah, it is a lot of factors. So, people shouldn't just try to jump onto it. Make sure you know your purpose, do your research,
Yeah.
and yep, risk
And
appetite.
also, for me also, don't get carried away with, there's a lot of
Mhm.
there's a lot of real estate agents that just want to get you to buy, benta lang, I would suggest to get to talk to a broker, to a licensed broker. The reason I say there's a difference between sales agents of developers, and the difference between a broker, a licensed broker, is the licensed broker comes in like a consultant for you. So they don't have a bias towards a certain product, versus a sales agent, let's
Oh,
say, ahente ng Ayala. Of course, they're gonna force you to buy their project.
yeah.
Their mindset is to really buy, to force you to buy a certain product of theirs. Now, if you employ a broker, a licensed broker, such as my brokerage firm or my team, they will sit down with you and really match what your requirements are.
Mhm.
They will show you options. I have no bias towards a certain project. So I can tell you, okay, this is your requirement. This is my recommendation. We have projects here at this price point. Or if you want to be a little more aggressive, we have these products for you as well. So I guess in the same sense, in when you're investing in um, other investment types, like what Dino is doing, it's you find an expert in the industry, not just an
Yeah.
agente. Yeah.
Mhm. Thank you for reiterating that. Maybe it'll be helpful later. Share with us your contact information, in case they need to reach out to an expert who can help. But okay, our next question. I have just retired. Best investment for retirement money. So this is a big amount.
I'm no expert in this,
Yeah,
but I would always say enjoy it and invest in a retirement
yeah.
home.
That's what I'm gonna say also. It's nice to be conservative, especially if it's retirement. But of course,
Yeah.
for me, if I retire, I wanna have fun a little,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. I would buy an island.
You worked hard for this. You worked all your life
yeah.
to retire, and yeah. Okay. Oh, we lost Dina. Do you recommend investing in condos right now, or is it better to stick to horizontal development?
Okay. Right now the condominiums are slow. Right now, I can definitely say we have little movement. Our firm actually specializes in condos in Makati and BGC. The reason being, we have been aggressive in this market. The condos have been like skyrocketing, but this pandemic showed otherwise. So it has slowed down. It didn't exactly drop, but it slowed down. When if you would see our market insights before pandemic, it was like a steep uh, appreciation up, but it kind of slowed down right now. So for me, if you were to ask me if you were to invest in condominiums right now, um, you look at good deals. There's a lot right now um, dropping their prices.
Mhm.
Because like say a lot of them didn't can't pay the lump sum in the end anymore, so
Yeah.
there's these nice opportunities to get into it. But personally, I wouldn't invest in like at market price in the condominiums. I would just really hunt for those good condo deals, because eventually, condos are in the city. It will always be a preference of, say, expats. That's why we focus in Mahadi BGC. Expats will always occupy them somehow. But definitely right now it is, I would advise to invest in horizontal developments, in house and lots at this point. Those are the prices that are going up right now. Surprisingly, they have not dropped, unlike in condominiums, which are a bit slow right now.
Okay.
REITs, definitely look into it. There's a promising one that I'm looking at with Mega World, mainly because so REIT, for those who don't know, it's the real estate, what's that, investment trust fund. It's basically pooling your money. It's kind of like works in a stock, and then it's with a real estate company. So right now the first one was Ayala, and then
Mhm.
I believe uh, the big one now that everyone is looking at is Mega World. So they're using this to fund basically all their real estate projects. No, I've been looking out for REITs for years now, because so my company is an international brokerage company, and a lot of my clients internationally have been very I guess experts na in REITs abroad, like in Singapore, Hong Kong. They're very like well versed there, and we haven't had one. We only had one last year with Ayala, and unfortunately, it was during pandemic, so it didn't have as much of a ano ba yun, gain as much as we've been waiting. Parang it was hyped up for so long, and then when they launched it, a
Yeah.
pandemic happened. So unfortunately, the timing is bad, but generally speaking, I would definitely look into REITs if you can't afford the big bulk into real estate. But if you want to get into real estate, REIT is one way to go. I think Dino has more inputs on that.
Well, nothing really. It's you covered it mostly, but it's an alternative real estate investment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope it flies, even when, while there still is a pandemic. Because if it worked well for other countries, I guess it should do well in the Philippines.
Yeah,
Cooperative.
I've been looking into this for years now. Waiting. There's a lot of laws and taxes kasi involved in it
Yeah.
in the Philippines. That's why it hasn't been um I guess pushed for years, and then finally they were ready. But again, there are only those big players that are into it, and I hope uh, more not the big players would get into it, so you can invest in it also. But something to look out for, definitely.
Yes. Thank you. Your thoughts on cryptocurrency,
Oh, I
Dina?
have no
Me
experience. Personally, I don't have experience, so I can't.
Okay.
me
Sure.
personally, I'm a more of a brick and mortar person. So
Mm-hmm.
if it doesn't make sense also to me, honestly, I would not I kind of stay away from it. Although I've played
Yeah.
around a little just to find out what it is. Um, it's definitely maybe for the more the millennial, millennial ganun eh.
Probably,
younger, for the younger ones
Yeah.
to play with.
yeah. Those with higher risks. And of course, right, we're going back to basics right now, right? Wealth rules from the richest man in Babylon. Maybe if you're still struggling with your credit card debts, with savings, and discipline isn't there yet, maybe not at this time, or due diligence. And
Due
then
diligence,
decide.
yeah. And
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Most important.
establishing what your risk appetite is.
Yep.
Me personally, I not really into the crypto
Mhm.
yet.
We're
We'll
very
see.
happy with real estate. So
Yeah, yeah.
I
I
think
mean, it's
that's
I'm,
safe,
I'm,
good.
it's
I'm old
tangible,
school
it's
also
there.
eh. I'm old school. Like, I'm old na rin siguro. I like things that I'm
It comes with
familiar
our
with.
age.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's good. I mean, if you're happy with where you are at right now, then it's good. What are in your investment portfolios at the moment? If it's okay with you guys to
No,
share.
sorry, I can't.
Okay, that's fine.
Well, I definitely have real estate.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well,
I've
yeah, of course, same.
dabbled in
That's true.
stocks and funds before, but not as much. Um, I've also tried actually the crypto. I played around a little, but it's not something that
Mhm.
I would put
Yeah,
a lot of money in. It's just like play money and just seeing how it is.
yeah.
Yeah,
You want something that's tangible. Yeah, depends
yeah.
on what works for you. What are your thoughts on copy trading? Dino, do you think this is a
I'm actually not familiar with copy trading, to be honest. Actually, first time I heard the term.
Is
um,
that when you're copying other people's trades ba? Yun
yes?
ba yun?
Mm-hmm. Yep, and
uh,
there are actually sites offering that.
okay.
Um,
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar.
well, not me personally, but my husband, eToro, I think
Yes,
that's the
that's
one with
copy trading.
copying,
Mm-hmm.
no? Um, I don't think he, I don't think he gained much from it, but it's also
If you're
just
letting him do
experimenting.
it, okay,
It's just experimenting at this point. Yeah.
okay,
You
yeah.
can
If
just
you
probably
can,
invest in a fund rather than copying.
Yeah, yeah. I would
Just
yeah.
invest.
also
Yeah,
recommend
just place
that,
it in
like
a fund and where in
mutual
which
funds na
the
lang,
yeah in
diba?
which the fund
Mm-hmm.
managers, the professional fund managers. So you don't need to copy. You just basically ask them to manage their money for you, diba? So it's
Yeah,
simpler.
yeah. I would also do that. I remember kasi eToro at that time when my husband was playing around with it, he copied someone's trades or something and then
Yeah.
the system crashed. So parang
So,
it
yeah, he
was
got it too.
it's not
Yeah.
but I don't after that I was kind of like why would you put your money in something that would crash na lang
Yeah,
ng ganyan.
that's true.
Yeah,
So we
so
stick to the safer options for now.
yeah.
What about Forex? We have
That's
a lot of
very
questions.
that's very aggressive
Nako,
type of
naubos pera ko dyan.
trading. Yeah.
Oh, really?
You
Okay.
really have to
Too
be you
aggressive.
really have to study this market because
That's
even
purples yan no?
even professional traders are actually having a hard time with it. Kasi
Yeah.
specifically now that it's very uncertain, there's a lot of
Yeah.
uncertainty globally. So this is something if you really want to get into, you really have to study the market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
In
guess a
Yeah.
in
lot of
detail,
people,
thoroughly. Yeah.
yeah, I think a lot of people go into this because it seems simple. It's just foreign exchange, right?
Well,
But
trading naman
But
is simple.
every
It's just buy and
second
sell. Eh.
counts. Eh. I remember I
yeah,
got into it,
and
and then like, wow, taas. Biglang the
ooh,
as fast as I
wala
gained,
na.
how it dropped also. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
ako
right.
rin personally professionally I trade bonds, 'di ba? Parang
Mm-hmm.
1 minute you're happy, the next minute you're not, 'di ba? Kasi
exactly.
ganon
Yeah.
ganon
Yep. Well, I guess that's about it for the questions from the audience. Okay, let's wrap up now.
talaga. So,
Maybe anything that you want to share as we close? Anything that you want to promote or encourage our audience to start working on? Just a short message. Let's do Kat first.
Okay. Well, if you want to learn more about real estate investments, you can reach out to me. You can look at us in, well, we have a website, sqftglobalph.com. We have a Facebook page, SQFT Global Properties Philippines. IG also is active. So Facebook, IG, and website. Just search us there. You can send a message and we'll be on top of it. What else? Well, I would have invited in the office, but it's ECQ and pandemic now, so
Let me say.
wala. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Kat. Dino, anything?
Yeah. Well, I know it. I know times are hard right now, especially right now we're back in ECQ. To quote Finding Nemo, just keep swimming. Diba? We can all get through this eventually, and if we just do our best every day, try to be a better version of ourselves every day, then we can get through this everything that we're going through right now.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I'd
Use
like to
this time
acknowledge
to study and learn.
Kiana Jane
Yeah,
from
I use
Philma
this time to
University
learn.
of Pangasinan. She's been very active. She's been asking questions. So thank you. I'm sure everyone learned a lot from you guys today. I hope
Thank
to
you.
see you when ECQ ends. And
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
thank you for your time. So please connect with us. We have your live sketch on YouTube. Please visit and subscribe to our channel. And you may also connect with us via Facebook and Twitter, or you may email us for any questions. Once again, this is Rachel of Your Life Sketch, Redesigning Life One Step at a Time. Thank you.